Politics is changing fast and every decision shapes our future. In today's video, we're breaking down the latest headlines, the key players, and what it all means for you. Whether you're here to stay informed or spark debate, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. At the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, former President Donald Trump's supporters made their position unmistakable. Trump remains the leader of the Make America Great Again MAGA movement, and they want him back in the White House beyond 2024. The conference hall erupted into chants of "We want Trump," as speakers passionately dismissed claims that he is a lame duck, and instead framed him as a once-in-a-century leader. The enthusiasm for Trump's continued political dominance comes amid constitutional questions about whether he could seek another term after 2028. The 22nd Amendment restricts U.S. presidents to 2 elected terms, but some conservative strategists have floated the idea of challenging this rule. While the feasibility of such a move remains unclear, the sheer energy at CPAC suggests that many attendees believe Trump is the only figure capable of carrying the movement forward, regardless of legal barriers. Supporters at the event compared Trump to historical figures like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln, arguing that leaders of his caliber appear only once or twice in a nation's lifetime. The speech also pushed back against critics who claim Trump's political career is nearing its end, instead insisting that his influence within the Republican Party is stronger than ever. This sentiment reflects a broader belief among Trump's base that his leadership is not just politically necessary but also divinely guided. Speakers at CPAC framed Trump's rise as an act of divine providence, positioning him as the only leader capable of taking on Washington's entrenched political establishment. With Trump set to take the stage at CPAC soon, the crowd's anticipation suggests that the push for his continued leadership is far from over. A fiery speech at the Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, called for a populist nationalist revolution, arguing that Washington, D.C. has become an imperial stronghold dominated by economic elites and political insiders. The speaker condemned the influence of financial oligarchs, Silicon Valley, and what they described as the lords of easy money, painting a picture of a system that has strayed far from the ideals of America's founders. According to the speaker, the United States is at a turning point where powerful interests control economic and political decisions, leaving ordinary Americans behind. The speech portrayed the current U.S. government as a bloated bureaucracy that has abandoned the will of the people. It suggested that figures like Washington and Lincoln would be outraged if they could see how the nation's capital has evolved. One of the most striking themes of the speech was the emphasis on human agency. The speaker argued that ordinary Americans, not artificial intelligence, tech companies, or government institutions, are the true drivers of the country's future. They encouraged CPAC attendees to reject fear and uncertainty, particularly regarding the 2020 election, and to continue fighting for the ideals of the MAGA movement. Perhaps the most controversial statement was the assertion that Trump is a historical figure on par with America's greatest leaders. General Washington, Lincoln, and Trump, they come along every 100 years, the speaker declared, adding that most nations never have such figures in their history. This comparison underscores the deep loyalty many conservatives feel toward Trump, seeing his presidency as a crucial moment in American history that must continue beyond traditional political norms. The Conservative Political Action Conference, CPAC, in Maryland, is showcasing key political influencers including controversial podcast host and former Trump strategist Steve Bannon. The event, attended by prominent figures, highlights the influence of mega-influencers in conservative politics. Vice President J.D. Vance spoke at the conference on Friday morning, while former President Donald Trump is scheduled to take the stage on Saturday. Among the most notable figures at CPAC, Bannon continues to play a significant role in shaping political discourse, despite being convicted of contempt of Congress and having no official position in the current administration. Bannon made headlines by stating that Canadians should consider Trump's expressed interest in annexing Canada a compliment. Additionally, Bannon discussed the Arctic's geopolitical significance, predicting future territorial disputes involving China and Russia. He argued that Canada lacks the military capacity to secure its northern territories effectively while maintaining its NATO commitments without making major budget cuts or tax increases. Regarding Trump's potential re-election bid, Bannon suggested that some conservative strategists are exploring the constitutional implications of Trump running again in 2028. He emphasized that Trump is eager to take action while still in office, making this a pressing issue among his supporters. The evolving discussions at CPAC continue to fuel debates on political strategy, sovereignty, and the influence of key figures within the conservative movement. Looking ahead, Trump and Musk show no signs of slowing down, with even more drastic changes on the horizon. The administration has signaled its intent to further shrink the federal workforce, terminate additional government programs, and potentially dismantle entire departments, such as the Department of Education. Many of DOGE's recent actions have focused on cutting funding for what the administration calls ideological programs, with billions of dollars in grants already canceled. Musk, known for his fast-paced decision-making in the private sector, is applying a similar approach to government, leveraging social media to identify and target waste in real time. His direct engagement with policy decisions via his platform, X, formerly Twitter, has reshaped the way executive actions are communicated and implemented, with government officials reacting to online discourse at unprecedented speeds. However, this rapid transformation comes with risks. Congressional hearings have been scheduled to scrutinize DOGE's authority, with lawmakers from both parties raising concerns about the legality and transparency of its decision-making process. Critics warn that removing large swaths of government employees without careful consideration could result in operational failures in key public services. Meanwhile, civil rights organizations are preparing lawsuits to challenge mass firings, arguing that they disproportionately affect newer hires and marginalized communities. Despite this, Musk and Trump remain committed to their vision of a streamlined, business-like government, emphasizing deregulation and efficiency as core priorities. Whether DOGE ultimately succeeds in delivering meaningful reform or sparks prolonged political turmoil remains to be seen. But one thing is certain: Washington will never be the same again. Elon Musk's race to develop a cutting-edge AI model has raised alarms in Washington as his associates gain access to sensitive government databases. These concerns stem from the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, an agency that operates with minimal transparency and self-enforced regulations, prompting bipartisan unease over Musk's potential use of federal data to enhance his AI technology. DOGE, an entity known for its secretive nature, has been granting Musk's team entry into some of the nation's most closely held records. The lack of clear public guidelines or external oversight on the agency's operations has fueled concerns that government information could be exploited for commercial purposes. While the White House maintains that the data being accessed will not be used in Musk's business ventures, it has provided limited details on how such restrictions are enforced. Adding to the apprehension, DOGE operates without a Senate-confirmed leader, further weakening accountability mechanisms. A senior White House official indicated that oversight of Musk's activities is largely maintained through his communications with President Donald Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles. However, this assurance has done little to quell skepticism among lawmakers and analysts. The growing debate over DOGE's role in handling federal data is not confined to concerns about Musk. Broader anxieties have emerged regarding the absence of robust guardrails governing the access and utilization of sensitive information by private entities. While some support DOGE's mission to streamline government operations and eliminate inefficiencies, there is widespread unease about its opaque structure and potential security risks. President Donald Trump and Elon Musk are pressing forward with an unprecedented effort to restructure the federal government through Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Tasked with cutting waste, reducing bureaucratic bloat, and eliminating inefficiencies, DOGE has already initiated mass layoffs, canceled billions in federal contracts, and streamlined key agencies. The Trump administration has framed this initiative as a necessary correction to years of excessive spending and bureaucratic overreach, arguing that a leaner government is essential for a more efficient and effective administration. Supporters see DOGE as a bold step toward restoring accountability, while critics claim it is an aggressive dismantling of vital government programs. The rapid pace of change has not come without controversy. Already thousands of federal employees across multiple agencies have received termination notices, with some departments hit harder than others. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and the Department of Agriculture, for instance, have reported major disruptions due to sudden workforce reductions. Some employees essential to public health and safety, such as veterinarians and animal health technicians combating the spread of bird flu, were mistakenly fired, forcing agencies to scramble to reverse these errors. Public protests against these terminations have gained momentum, with crowds gathering outside major government buildings to denounce what they see as reckless downsizing. Meanwhile, legal challenges are mounting. A coalition of 14 Democrat-led states filed an emergency motion to halt DOGE's activities, arguing that its sweeping authority lacks constitutional oversight. However, a federal judge denied the request, citing a lack of clear evidence of imminent and irreparable harm. Despite this legal green light, tensions continue to rise, with unions, advocacy groups, and political leaders vowing to resist what they see as a direct assault on the civil service. Former President Donald Trump has signed 2 executive orders that expand the White House's control over key government functions, sparking debate over executive power. The first order seeks to lower the cost of in vitro fertilization, IVF, by cutting federal regulations, making treatments more affordable. Supporters view this as a pro-family move, while critics warn it could weaken oversight of fertility clinics, potentially affecting safety and ethical standards. The second order increases presidential control over independent agencies like the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, aiming to rein in what Trump calls unaccountable bureaucracies. Supporters argue this will reduce regulatory overreach, but opponents fear it undermines agency independence and could allow political interference in consumer protections and corporate regulation. These actions are part of a broader push to reshape the federal government, with figures like Elon Musk playing key roles in the administration's efficiency initiatives. While supporters see this as a necessary reform, critics warn it may further consolidate executive power, raising concerns over institutional checks and balances. As Trump continues his efforts to overhaul government operations, the impact of these orders will unfold in the coming months, shaping debates on presidential authority and regulatory oversight. That's it for today's deep dive into the latest political developments. Whether you agree or disagree, the conversation doesn't stop here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know if you want a different tone, more serious, engaging, or even humorous.